nasals. Okay, hindi sila filter ng glomerulus. Pero pag sinusoidal, they can allow even passage ng blood cells. Diba yan sa liver, sa spleen. Oh. Tapos yung filtering membrane ng capillary, yung glomerular capillary, other than the presence of the penetration or the pores or the openings. Okay? Yung basal lamin na yan, okay? Can also prevent filtration ng larger proteins. Okay? Yung mga proteoglycan present dyan. And negativity. Okay? Tapos yung mga slit membrane between pedicels, yan yung sinatag na filtration slits. Yan naman ang magpe-prevent ng filtration ng medium-sized proteins. Kaya sabi, normally the glomerular filtering membrane, it will not allow filtration ng blood cells and plasma proteins. Pero yung amino acids can be filtered. Di ba? Amino acid, yun ang smallest protein. Okay? Kaya hindi lang na-filter yung large protein and medium size. Kaya amino acids can be filtered. But whatever amino acids are filtered, they're immediately reabsorbed. Kaya normally there are also no amino acids in the urine. Okay? So, because whatever amino acid is filtered by the glomerulus, all of them are immediately reabsorbed by the proximal convoluted tubular cells. Marireabsorb agad. Important nutrient yan. Okay? So, okay, mga factors that can affect sabi, filtration. Okay? Yung parts ng glomerulus responsible for promoting filtration. So yung capillary endothelium, di ba, highly porous siya, penetrated. Okay? And they can also detect tubular flow. Okay? So nalalaman din nila kung increase yung flow or decrease. Okay? And remember, they prevent passage or filtration ng blood cells. Tapos yung capillary basement membrane, non-cellular yan. Tapos nagsiserve siya as charge-selective filter. Okay? Yung mga proteoglycans na negatively charged. Tapos yung food processes ng podocytes, yung filtration slits. Ito naman yung sinasabing size-selective filter. Okay? Diba yung mga medium-sized proteins, hindi na-filter niya. Tapos tumutulong din yung capsular endothelial cells. Pero minimal ang kanyang contribution. So, ang mostly involved na yan. Yung capillary endothelium, capillary basement membrane, and the filtration slits. In the process of filtration. Meron lang may minimal contribution yung capsular endothelial cells. Okay? Kasi ito yung electron microscopy ng mga filtration slits. Mga food processes of podocytes. Okay? Kasi ayun pa yung basement membrane that will also help in the selection of what should be filtered. Okay? Ayan, So yung basement membrane, yan yung sinasabing charge selective. Ang filtration slits, so ito yung charge selective. Di ba ito? Size selective. Size selective yung filtration slits. Ito, charge selective. Yung mga pores, di ba, that they will prevent filtration ng blood cells. Okay? Kasi ano yung mga factors that can affect filtration. So yung mga pressures din, di ba yan ang involved sa yung filtration sa capillary sa other organ system. So you recall the Starling's hypothesis or the Starling's forces. And so other than capillary hydrostatic pressure, kukonsider din natin yung hydrostatic pressure sa Bowman's capsule, which is similar to the tubular pressure. Pareho lang yan ng tubular pressure, yung hydrostatic pressure sa Bowman's. So it is also at times referred to as the tubular hydrostatic pressure. Kasi di ba ang Bowman's directly connected na yan sa proximal convoluted tubule. So identical lang sila. That's, we also take note of the effect ng plasma proteins, di ba, yung osmotic pressure of the plasma proteins, also known as the plasma colloidal oncotic pressure. That can also affect filtration. Other than these pressures, yung ding area ng filtering membrane, di ba direct ang effect niyan. The greater the area, the greater the filtration. Yung permeability ng membrane, di ba yung proteoglycan sa membrane, which is, sabi, negatively charged. Okay? That can also affect filtration. And the characteristic of the filtered agent. Di ba? Kaya pag tinignan mo, yung glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure, it can be affected by blood pressure changes. Di ba? Pag increase ang blood pressure, di increase ang capillary hydrostatic pressure. Pag decrease, di-decrease din siya. It can also be affected by changes in the diameter of the afferent and efferent arterioles. Okay? Papakita ko yan mamaya. Okay? So yung hydrostatic pressure, ano naman ang makaka-apekto rito? Okay? Yung obstruction sa urine flow. Pag may ureteral obstruction, if urine cannot be excreted, mag-accumulate siya sa renal pelvis, magbabackflow yan. Eventually, filling na renal calyces. Di magkakaroon ka ng cooling ng urine sa pyramids. That will increase the hydrostatic pressure in the tubules as well as in the Bowmans. Kasi yung osmotic pressure ng plasma protein. So, depende sa amount ng protein sa plasma. Siyempre, plasma proteins yan, osmotic pressure. So, in cases ng dehydration, protein losing disorders, may liver problem ka, so problem naman sa production. So, mag-hypoproteinemia. That will decrease the oncotic pressure. That can affect also filtration. Tapos yung area ng filtering membrane. Remember, sa area, pag meron ng 20 to 30%, remaining functioning renal tissues, ganyan lang karami nagpa-function. That means, you are now having renal failure. Or the patient is now having renal failure. Di ba, we have 2 kidneys. Pag karoon ng problem, if there is a problem affecting one of the 2 kidneys, so 50% activity na lang, that can still maintain normal renal function. Basta 50% ang magpa-function normal pa rin ang activity ng kidneys. Pero pag nag-decrease na siya ng 20 o 30%, magmamanifest na yung renal problem. Kaya nga we can donate 1 kidney. With 1 kidney still remaining, pero normal siya, it can maintain normal function of the renal system. But if the activity of that single kidney decreases by 1/2, o di 25% na lang yun. So, there will now be manifestations of renal problem. Kaya pag ang injury, 70 to 80% na, yun ang injured sa renal tissues. Meron ng manifestation ng renal failure. Kaya nga, ang tira na lang, ang remaining functioning, 20 to 30%. Okay? Kaya normally, we can donate 1 of the kidneys. Okay? Pero yung iba, binibenta. So, anong characteristic ng filtered agent? So, dapat neutral. Di ba yung proteoglycan sa basement membrane, negatively charged? So, madaling ma-filter pag neutral. And also, positively charged agents. Kasi may attraction between unlike charges. May problem tayo pag ang agent about to be filtered is negatively charged. It is repelled by the basement membrane. That is one reason, di ba, why proteins are not filtered normally. Kasi proteins are normally negatively charged. Kaya hindi na-filter normally yung protein. So yung molecular weight din, dapat less than 69,000 ng agent. And the diameter of the agent should be less than 2 nanometer or 20 angstrom. Kasi yung diameter ng filtration slits, mga 4 yan or less than 4 nanometer or 42 angstroms. Kaya hindi na-filter ang mga blood cells. Mga blood cells mga 6 yun 6 or 8 nanometer. So, dun lang sa fenestration, sirap na sila What more sa filtration slits? Kaya blood cells are not really filtered. Kaya pag na-filter ang blood cells, there is now a problem in the renal or glomerular filtering membrane. Nasira na siya. Naging greater na yung diameter ng opening. Okay? Kasi yung, remember, yung glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure can be affected by blood pressure changes and changes in the diameter ng afferent and efferent arteriole. Diba? O ito. Okay? So ano yung effects nung variation sa arteriolar diameter that will affect resistance? Diba? Pag decrease ng diameter, increase resistance. Pag increase ng diameter, lesser resistance. Decrease diameter, increase resistance. Pag nag-constrict, increase ang resistance. Pag nag-dilate, lesser ang resistance. So, ano yung effects nun? On renal blood flow and GFR. So, ito. Pag nag-constrict ang afferent, normal ang efferent tone. Walang changes sa diameter ng efferent arteriole. Ang nag-constrict yung afferent. So, increase ang resistance sa afferent. That will promote decreased renal blood flow and GFR. Kasi nag-decrease ang diameter ng afferent. So, less blood enters the glomerulus. So, decrease ang renal blood flow. And that will also decrease ability ng glomerulus to filter. Kasi di ba pinifilter niya blood, nag-decrease ang amount ng blood entering the glomerulus. What about if the condition, opposite, normal ngayon ang diameter ng afferent, ang nag-constrict efferent? That will lead to what? Accumulation ng blood sa glomerulus. Kasi less blood can easily get out of the glomerulus. Nape-prevent yung kanilang movement out of the glomerulus by the constriction ng efferent. So that will lead to a decreased renal blood flow and increased GFR. Mag-increase ang GFR. Pwede namang minimal lang ang change sa renal blood flow kasi normal ang afferent. Pero ang GFR talaga mag-increase. Kasi nag-accumulate yung blood, or less blood can get out of the capillary due to the constriction ng efferent. What if there is normal afferent? Normal afferent condition and there is dilation of the efferent arteriole. So that will increase renal blood flow and decrease GFR. Kasi yung GFR, di ba, nag-dilate ang efferent. So blood can easily move out of the glomerulus. So lesser will be filtered. Pag nag-dilate naman ang afferent, normal ang condition ng efferent. So mag-i-increase ang RBF niyan and GFR. Dilated ang afferent. So more blood can enter the glomerulus. So increase ang renal blood flow, increase din ang GFR. Pag ganito, mahirap tingnan, so ito na lang yan. So pag constricted ng afferent, constricted ng afferent, nakikita? Afferent arteriole constricted, normal yung condition ng efferent arteriole. So renal blood flow decrease. Ang filtration rate also decreases. What if it is the opposite? Nag-dilate yung afferent, normal ang efferent tone. So increase ang renal blood flow, increase din ang GFR, increase din ang glomerular filtration rate. Okay? Paano pag efferent naman na nag-constrict? Normal ang condition ng afferent arteriole. So yung renal blood flow decreases. Pwedeng minimal ang change sa GFR or usually nag-i-increase. Okay? Kasi constricted nga efferent, nag-accumulate yung blood sa glomerulus. Okay? Ano pag dilated ang efferent? Dilated ang efferent arteriole. Normal ang condition ng afferent. So yung renal blood flow increases. Okay? The GFR can be having minimal change or it can decrease. Kasi blood can easily get out of the glomerulus. Dilated ang efferent arteriole. So lesser yung filtration. Pero in certain cases daw, minimal yung change. Okay? Or almost no change. Pero yung ang common, nagdi-decrease yung GFR. Ayan okay? Kaya sabi sa activity nila, ito pa isang presentation, okay? Changes, okay? Sa GFR, renal blood flow, and tubular capillary pressure. Okay? Dito kasama na yung peritubular. Okay? Ay, sorry. Ayan. So, pag constricted ang afferent, decrease lahat yan. Ba't ayaw? Decrease sila lahat. Pag dilated ang afferent, increase naman sila lahat. Kasi more blood can enter the glomerulus. Pag constricted ang increase naman. Okay? Increase yung capillary pressure, glomerular capillary pressure. Okay? Kasi di ba constricted ang efferent. So less blood can get out of the glomerulus. More ability ng glomerulus to filter. Kaya sabi, okay? The glomerular capillary pressure increases. Okay? Nag-accumulate yung blood, constricted ang efferent. Okay? Increase ang filtration rate. Pero yung peritubular capillary pressure decreases. Okay? Ayaw. Ayun. Kasi less blood can immediately proceed to the peritubular capillary. Constricted ang efferent. Ang renal blood flow expected to decrease. Okay? Pag dilated ang efferent, so magdi-decrease ang pressure sa glomerulus. Kasi mabilis mawala yung blood. Blood can easily move out of the glomerulus. Dilated ang efferent. Kaya ang filtration rate decreases. More blood leaves the glomerulus. They can immediately proceed to the peritubular area. Kaya increase ang pressure. Mag-increase din ang renal blood flow eventually. Okay? Yan ang mga changes. Ito, dami niyang ganyan. Kaya dapat pag sa exam, ano nyo na yan kung ano mangyayari. Kaya sabi, yung changes sa diameter or resistance ng afferent and efferent arterioles can affect glomerular filtration. So, what is observed pag nag-increase ang GFR? So, ang common na dilated ang afferent, constricted ang efferent arteriole. So, para mag-increase ang GFR. So, nakikita yan, effect ng mga prostaglandins. Okay? Mga dilators yan, yung mga kinins. Dopamine, low dose, yung ANP, nitric oxide. Dilator sila ng, they can dilate the afferent arterioles. Okay? Kasi meron din mga condition, ang nangyari naman, nag-constrict ang efferent. Normal lang to ng afferent. Ito yung low dose ng angiotensin 2. So, naapektuhan niya agad yung efferent arteriole. Okay? So, sa ano yan, pag dito ka nakatingin, walang effect sa afferent. Normal lang to ng afferent. So, low dose ng angiotensin 2, ang effect niya sa efferent arteriole. Wala siyang effect sa afferent. Normal lang to. Ito dito lang yan. Kaya baka akala mo, pag may angiotensin 2 na low dose, magkukonstrict ang afferent, magdadilate magkukonstrict ang efferent, magdadilate ang afferent. No. Constriction lang ng afferent, yung low dose ng angiotensin. Okay? What about kung decrease ng GFR? So, pag nag-decrease ng GFR, okay? So, ang mangyayari is either afferent arteriolar constriction or efferent arteriolar dilatation. What can cause constriction ng afferent? So, angiotensin high dose o mga norepinephrine. Okay? Yung effect ng ADH, di ba? Ang ADH, vasoconstrictor din yun. Okay? Yung antagonizing prostaglandins. Okay, blockage ng prostaglandins. Okay? Kasi ang prostaglandins, di ba, dilator. Ito. I-block mo. So that will cause constriction ng afferent. In certain cases, we only affect the efferent. Magdadilate. Yung iba-block mo naman yung angiotensin. Magdadilate yung afferent. Normal lang afferent. Magdadilate yung efferent. Sa efferent. So, magdadilate ang efferent. Pag na-antagonize yung angiotensin 2. Normal lang to ng afferent arteriole. Tapos, if you look closely at this picture, okay, ma-observe mo na yung sensitivity ng arterioles to angiotensin 2. Okay, differs. Yung angiotensin, yung afferent arteriole, less sensitive yun sa angiotensin 2. Kaya yung afferent arteriole will only undergo constriction due to the effect of angiotensin 2 pag high dose. Kasi less sensitive siya sa effect ng angiotensin 2. Ang more sensitive sa angiotensin 2, efferent arteriole. Kaya low dose ng angiotensin can immediately constrict the efferent. Di ba walang effect sa afferent? Pero high dose, magko-constrict na yan. Yung efferent arteriole. Kaya less sensitive yung afferent sa angiotensin 2 compared sa efferent arteriole. Okay? Kahit sa mga catecholamines, yung norepinephrine, okay? Hindi na na-observe. Okay? Kaya pag nagko-constrict lang ang efferent, di ba? Normal lang to ng afferent. Kaya nag-i-increase ang GFR. Okay? Kaya di ba kahit makikita rin sa sympathetics, kaya di ba pag takot ka, you are having so yung natakot ka, you have that feeling of fear, okay? Merong mga iba pag natatakot na iihi, they urinate. Iba naman, nape-prevent nila yung urination, okay? In the presence of fear, okay? Yung mga nagkaroon ng urination due to fear, okay? So, yun yung mga sinasabing nag-constrict agad ang efferent. Kasi pag natatakot ka, ang reaction mo doon, sympathetics Yung mga sympathetics, fight or flight. So, yung naihi dahil sa takot, they urinate because of fear. Merong secretion ng small amount of noradrenaline or norepinephrine. Nagko-constrict agad ang efferent arteriole. Normal lang to ng afferent. So, increase ang GFR o nag-urinate sila ngayon. Increase ang urine formation. But in some persons, in the presence of fear, dumadami agad yung norepinephrine. Nag-increase agad ang secretion in greater amount yung norepinephrine. To counteract the fear, di ba? Fight or flight. So, increased dose ng noradrenaline will also constrict the afferent. Pag nag-constrict ang afferent, lesser ang blood flow sa glomerulus, lesser ang GFR. So, they do not urinate. So, yun ang mga hindi naiihi pag natakot. They do not urinate when exposed to a condition that can lead to fear. Pero yung iba pag natakot, di ba naiihi? Merong low dose yun ng norepinephrine. Okay? Pareho lang kasi ang effect ng angiotensin 2 sa norepinephrine sa mga arterioles. So pag low dose, affected agad efferent. Pag high dose, ang affected, immediately yung afferent arteriole. Okay? And yung iba pag natatakot, naiihi. Yung iba pag natatakot, hindi naiihi. So depende yan sa amount ng vasoconstrictor agents release. Okay? Up to this point, you have questions?
None.
Hello, Nan. Ang lakas ng pagkasagot. Salamat po. Okay? So, we can now talk about the next topic, yung urine formation. So, how do the nephrons or the kidneys produce the urine? So, sabi nga, involve yung filtration, reabsorption, secretion. Ulitin lang naman yan, okay? So, everything present in the blood filtered by the glomerulus. Okay? Ayan, pwede pinapakita. Pwedeng ma-filter yung amino acids. Okay? Ang hindi na-filter, proteins. Okay? Saka blood cells. Pero almost everything present in the blood filtered by the glomerulus. Pupunta rin ng filtrate. Pag nasa filtrate na, majority of the said substances are reabsorbed by the tubules, especially in the proximal convoluted region. Itong proximal, ito malakas mag-reabsorb. Okay? Yung proximal. Yung other parts ng nephron, okay? They will now absorb, okay? Mostly electrolytes. So, yung mga hydrogen, water, okay? O some drugs, okay? Pero almost all nutrients are reabsorbed by the proximal convoluted tubule. Okay? So, the reabsorption can be observed from the loop of Henle, nung water electrolytes and other agents not reabsorbed by the proximal convoluted tubular cells. So, meron kang reabsorption also happening sa loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule, and the collecting ducts. So, kasi yung reabsorption happening sa DCT and collecting ducts, okay, especially sa collecting ducts, okay, it is affected by hormones. Pag sa water yon, affected by ADH. Pag sa electrolytes, especially sodium, affected by aldosterone. Okay? So, once we see now reabsorption happening in the collecting duct, so kukunin din yan yung mga considered essential or needed by the body, yung mga additional water, okay, additional electrolytes. So yung remnants are then excreted in the urine. Okay? Tapos ano pa yung pwedeng makakip present sa urine? Yung secreted agents still present in the blood that are not needed by the body. Sisikret yun ng tubular cells, okay, towards the filtrate. Taken yun from the blood. Kasi nandun pa rin siya kailangan i-remove. So when we say the agent is secreted, they are eventually excreted. Incorporated na eventually sa urine. Okay? Kaya sabi, it happens where? Pag filtration sa glomerulus. Okay? So, affected by the said pressure. So, di ba binanggit ko kanina yan? Yung glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure, which is the one favoring filtration. Yan ang nagpi-favor ng filtration. Look at the black arrows. So, yung blood entering the afferent arteriole, it exerts hydrostatic pressure. Okay? Eventually directed towards the glomerulus. Okay? Magkakaroon tayo ng glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure, which is about this much. So, yun ang kanyang value, mga 55 millimeters mercury. And that will favor filtration. Other than this, glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure, we have also remembered the osmotic pressure. The tubular pressure. Tubular pressure pala muna to. Yung Bowman's capsule. Hydrostatic pressure. Pareho lang naman yun. Okay? Which is about 15 millimeters mercury. And normally, it will oppose filtration. Opposing force yan. Together with the osmotic pressure ng plasma proteins. That will also oppose filtration. Remember the effect of the plasma proteins in the Starling's forces or Starling's hypothesis. Diba it will normally retain water in the vascular compartment or attracts water to move in to the vascular compartment. Kaya nga di ba pag if a person is having hypoproteinemia, less water stays in the vascular compartment. Water moves out of the vascular compartment and will move towards the interstitial spaces and we develop edema. Di ba yun? Explanation sa edema pag nag-hypoproteinemia. Kasi less yung proteins that will hold on to water in the vascular compartment. Kaya sa normal condition, makita mo na yan sa kidneys. Capillary din yung glomerulus. So yung proteins present in the plasma which are not filtered, it will exert an osmotic pressure that will try to retain water in the blood present in the glomerulus. So that will prevent filtration. Okay? So, i-oppose nila yung ability ng glomerulus to filter. Ang nagpe-favor lang yung glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure. So, if we want to determine the total or the net filtration pressure, we will subtract the values ng combined opposing forces. Kung nag-oppose ng filtration, yung Bowman's capsule hydrostatic pressure and the oncotic pressure or osmotic pressure ng plasma proteins. So i-add mo to. Kukombine natin yung opposing forces and susubtract natin yung kanilang effect sa pressure favoring filtration. Glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure. Yun ang net filtration pressure. Kaya 55 o minus total ng 30 plus 15. O 45 yan. So, ang net filtration pressure, 10 millimeters mercury. Kasi di ba ito yung nag-favor ng filtration? So, isubtract mo tong opposing forces. So, combine mo sila. 15 plus 30. So, ang net filtration pressure is 10 millimeters mercury. Okay? Kasi yung osmotic pressure ng plasma proteins, it can also be referred to as the plasma colloidal oncotic pressure. Yun namang capillary, okay? Bowman's capsule, okay? Hydrostatic pressure or the capsular hydrostatic pressure, okay? O yan ang similar to the tubular pressure. Kasi yung Bowman's capsule nga, directly connected na sa, nawala na naman yung person, directly connected na sa proximal convoluted tubule. So yung pressure na yan dyan, pareho na. Ito yung arrow, tinan mo, yung capsular hydrostatic pressure, opposing force yan. Ito yung arrow niya, okay, back to the glomerulus. Ito naman yung osmotic pressure, back to the glomerulus din. Kasi i-attract niya yung water to stay inside the glomerulus. Kaya opposing forces sila. Okay? Kaya yung net filtration pressure, there are times it is known, referred to as the effective filtration pressure. Okay? So that will be equal to, okay, the difference between the combined effects ng opposing forces. Yung osmotic pressure ng plasma protein plus the tubular pressure. Combine mo sila. Subtract mo sa glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure. Di ba yun sabi ko, 55 minus 45. Kaya meron tayong net filtration pressure or effective filtration pressure equivalent to 10 millimeters mercury. Okay? O sabi, bakit higher? Ito, sinabi ko na yan kanina. Bakit higher yung parati yung glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure? Ano major reason? Naman taas 55 millimeters mercury. Why? Naku ha, sinabi ko yan kanina. Hindi nyo na maalala? Hello? Wala na sumasagot? Ha?
Or filtration po.
Bakit siya higher? Oo. Okay? Kahit merong greater number ng opposing forces, o dalawa sila, o ito isa lang, pero mataas pa rin siya. Why? Kasi nga, di ba, ang glomerular capillary bounded by arterioles. Kaya high pressure capillary siya. Kaya lagi siyang mataas. Okay? In the different textbooks, they have different values for the glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure, the osmotic pressure ng plasma proteins, and the tubular pressure. Okay? Yung pressure na yan, kay ganong yan. Okay? Ito naman kay Guyton. Ito, minsan, hindi ko maintindihan kung niloloko tayo. Okay? Sa Asian edition ng Byrne and Levy, yan ang values. Sa international edition, yan ang values. Katuwa, no? Isa lang ang Byrne and Levy lang. Pero sa Asian edition, iba values. Sa international edition, iba. Pero whatever are the values presented, always higher yung glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure. Kaya yung glomerulus is always capable of filtration. Bakit siya parating higher? It is a high pressure capillary because it is bounded by arterioles. Ang proximal end niya, kaya di ba afferent arteriole, ang distal end connected to the efferent arteriole. Kaya lagi siyang high pressure. Di ba? Kasi yung glomerular filtration, other than the effective filtration pressure or net filtration pressure, it is also dependent on the ultrafiltration coefficient. Dependent siya yan. What are the parameters involved in the ultrafiltration coefficient? So yung capillary permeability, very permeable naman yan, di ba? Next to sinusoidal, penetrated siya times the capillary surface area. Okay? Di ba yung surface area, pag nag-decrease na yung number ng functioning nephrons, up to 30%, decrease na filtration. Kaya importante yan. Yung ultrafiltration coefficient. Kasi ang na-observe, the GFR is directly proportional to the effect of the effective filtration pressure, especially the glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure, yung favoring pressure, and the ultrafiltration coefficient. Di ba kaya pag nagdi-decrease ng surface area, 30% na lang ang functioning, decrease na markedly yung filtration. meron ng manifestation ng renal failure. Okay? Oo. That's how do we measure GFR. So we use an agent, okay? That is easily filtered and not secreted or not reabsorbed by the renal tubules. Okay? So we administer this agent to the patient. Okay? Tapos determine natin yung excretion rate and level ng agent sa plasma after a certain period of time. Okay? Kasabi nga, yung GFR, di ba, normal rates, mga 100 to 150 ml per minute. Ang average, 125 ml per minute. Okay? So, mga karakteristik ng agents utilized for measuring GFR? Dapat easily filtered or freely filtered. Sabi nga, not reabsorbed nor secreted. Okay? And it should be not metabolized by the body. Kasi pag na-metabolize yun, tapos detect mo yung amount niya sa plasma, so lesser na yung amount niya. Okay? O dapat hindi siya ma-metabolize. Okay? And it should not be stored in the kidneys or any part ng body or any organs ng body. Okay? O, dapat it is not toxic. So it will not affect the patient. Okay? Oh, and it will not affect filtration. Okay? So mafi-filter lang siya. But it will not cause any injury to the glomerular capillary. Okay? That's easy to measure in the plasma and urine. So that we can determine how much was excreted. And that will help us determine amount filtered. Okay? That's one of the best agent is inulin. So, kasi ang clearance niyan or ang filtration niya or filtration rate is equal to normal. 125 ml per minute. Another one is the para-aminohippuric acid. Pero ito medyo lesser. So, nag-underestimate daw ito eh. It will underestimate the GFR by about 10%. Okay? Ang isang maganda pa, clinically, yung creatinine. So, filtration rate kasi ng creatinine between 90 to 140 ml per minute. Ito yung normal level niya sa plasma. Okay? So, clinically, yun ang ginagamit. Kaya nga, di ba, pag may renal problem, ang immediate request ng mga physician, pag their patient is having renal injury, they're suspicious na may renal problem ang patient. Ang request agad yan, paki-check nga plasma creatinine and plasma BUN. For you to, no, if there is problem sa kidney, tina-check agad yan, yung plasma level ng creatinine. Together with blood urea nitrogen. Kasi ang urea primarily excreted using the kidneys. Okay? Pag-measure ng pag-measure ng amount filtered. Okay? To measure the amount filtered, we use this equation. So yung pag sinabing QF, quantity filtered. It is equivalent to plasma concentration of the substance times the glomerular filtration rate. Di ba given naman yung GFR 125 ml per minute. So, determine mo lang how much is the amount of the agent in the plasma. So, yung ginawa ko example dito, glucose or blood sugar. So, ang normal, 100 milligrams per cent. Medtech, what does the unit mean? Yung 100 milligram per cent. Di ba may meaning yan? What does it mean? Ang mga medtech ay sumagot. Ha? Hello? Sagot naman kayo. Ayaw na mag-contribute ng mga batang to. Ha? Ano meaning ng milligram per cent? Para ma-analyze nyo to, wala. Wala makaalala ilang taong kayo sa medtech pinag-aralan nyo yan. Ha? Hello? Ay, wala na yun.
Per DL ba yan?
Hindi, milligrams per cent nga Iba yung per deciliter. Ito anong sabihin? Milligrams per cent. Hindi nyo maalala. Okay? Milligrams per 100 ml of blood. Yan ang ibig sabihin yan. Okay? Okay? Kaya yung 100 milligrams per cent, it can also mean 100 milligram of the sugar or glucose per 100 ml of blood. Okay? Kaya sabi, kung 100 milligram per 100 ml, so that is also equal to 1 milligram per 1 ml of blood. Kung kukunin mo na ngayon, you want to know how much glucose is filtered by the kidneys. So, quantity filtered is equal to 1 milligram per ml times the GFR, 125 ml per minute. So, ang filtration rate ng glucose na 100 milligrams per cent sa plasma is 125 milligrams per minute. Pero hindi natin ginagamit ito. Why is it that we do not use glucose in determining GFR? Kasi glucose can be metabolized. It is used by the body for its activity. So, hindi yan ginagamit. Iba dapat ang characteristic, babalik ko. Ayan, okay? So, not metabolized. Okay? Although glucose can be easily filtered, can be reabsorbed. Okay? Ayan, kaya hindi ginagamit ng glucose. Kasi nare-reabsorb siya, tapos nami-metabolize. Kaya ang ginagamit ka, inulin para aminoid uric acid. Pag sa clinical practice, yung creatinine. Okay? So ito binigay ko na example para makuha mo yung GFR nung certain substance. Okay? Or filtration nung said substance. Kasi yung filtration fraction, sabi, it averages 0.15 to 0.2. Okay? So what does it mean? It means that only 15 to 20% ng plasma entering the glomerulus is actually filtered. So, not all the blood passing to the glomerulus undergoes filtration. Ayan 15 to 20% lang. Okay? So, yung remaining 80 to 85% stays in circulation. So, they stay inside the glomerulus. So, yung 80 to 85% ng plasma present in the blood staying in the glomerulus. Okay? They will not undergo filtration. Ang napi-filter lang ngayon, 15 to 20% ng plasma. Okay? Exposed to the glomerular filtering membrane. Okay? Kaya yung filtration fraction, sabi, it is equal to GFR over renal plasma flow. Yan ang equation niya. Okay? So, di ba 125 ang GFR? Ang renal plasma flow, dapat i-convert mo yung renal blood flow to renal plasma flow. O di ba ang plasma fluid portion ng blood? Normally how much in percent is the plasma? Okay? Present in the blood. Ilang percent ng plasma? Tamo yung mga to, yun lang ay pa sumagot. Ilang percent? Hello? Ano section ba ito?
Around 55.
So, okay, 50, 55, 60%. Ang ginamit ko yung 60%. So, ginawa ko na example na ang renal blood flow, di ba, 1 liter. 1 liter, di 1,000 ml yun. O times 60%, edi 600. Okay? So, ang kinuha lang natin, plasma flow, hindi blood flow. Kaya convert mo yung renal blood flow to plasma flow. Dapat ma-recall mo na yung plasma is 50 to 60% of the blood. Kaya ayan ang value, 0.15 to 0.2. Okay? Kasi nga, di ba ang renal blood flow, 1 liter per minute o 1.2 liters per minute. Hindi ko na ginamit yung 1.2, mahirapan pa tayo. Okay? So, i-convert mo yung renal blood flow to plasma flow. O 60% niyan, edi 600. Kaya GFR, sabi, over RBF, it will give us the filtration fraction. O using the said equation, we can also get the GFR. Diba? Ang GFR can be equal to renal plasma flow times filtration fraction. Okay, ayan. So, another method din yan of getting the GFR or another equation. Now, associated with GFR, yung plasma clearance. So, ito yung volume of plasma cleared of a substance per unit time by the kidneys. Okay? So, we can use this equation to determine the plasma clearance of a substance. Clearance ng substance is equal to amount ng substance sa urine, yun ang US. Amount ng substance in the urine times the urine volume over amount ng substance sa plasma. Okay? So ayan, clearance of a substance. Okay? So yung plasma clearance ng substance, yun ang CS. Yung US, a concentration ng substance sa urine. Yung capital letter V, volume ng urine. And the PS is concentration ng substance, okay, sa plasma. Gusto mo malaman, what is that agent cleared by the kidneys from the plasma? Ano yung tinanggal niyang agent na yun? Okay? How much is the clearance? So, yan ang equation. Pwede rin, yan ang definition ng renal clearance. Yan, So, volume of plasma completely cleared of a substance by the kidneys per unit time. So, the higher the clearance, the more plasma that is cleared of the substance. Di ba, ang unit nga, ml per minute. Okay? Tapos, ang renal clearance, importante yon para magkaroon tayo ng information about the GFR. Kaya yung clearance ng inulin, di ba, ang value niyan equal to GFR, 125 ml per minute. Yung clearance ng creatinine, di ba, kuha niya rin, wala. 90 to 140 ml per minute. Kaya clinically, yun ang ginagamit. Para hindi ka na mag-administer pa ng inulin sa patient. Okay? Yung para aminohippurate or para aminohippuric acid, nag-underestimate siya ng GFR by about 10%. Kaya bihirang gamitin. Ayan. So, ang ginagamit yung inulin kung gusto mo i-test. So, ayaw mo na mag-test. Determine mo lang yung plasma creatinine. Okay? Tapos normally, yung kidneys can filter 180 liters of blood per day. Ganyan karami na-filter niya kasi sa circulating lang naman, kaya freely yung blood. Okay? And it keeps returning on the kidneys. Okay? So, yung total amount filtered, 180 liters per day. Okay? Pero normally, ang urine output is only about 500 ml to 1.5 liters per day. What does it mean? So, it means simply that majority of the substances filtered by the kidneys, majority of them are reabsorbed. Okay? Diba, tinan mo, 180 liters ang na-filter. But the urine form is only about 0.5 to 1.5 liters per day or 20 to 65 ml per hour. So majority ng mga na-filter na agents are reabsorbed by the tubular network ng nephron. Especially sa proximal convoluted tubule. Okay? Kaya ang tubular reabsorption, magta-transport yan ng contents ng filtrate back into the general circulation. Ang binabalik niya yan, di ba, ang masisikret lang or magiging urine, what is converted into urine, half a liter lang to 1.5 liters. So majority of the filtered portion ng blood are transported back to the general circulation. Pabalik sa circulation sa blood. So that is about 178.5 to 179.5 liters per day. So, babalik yun ng kidneys. Okay? So, the transport, it could be by active process. Pwede rin naman passive. By active process, so meron tayong tinatawag na transport maximum. Na-recall nyo to? What do they mean when they say transport maximum? Na-recall nyo yan sa active transport? Hindi na. So what happens to the carriers involved in the active transport when we say it is now in the level ng transport maximum? Ay, wala nang ma-recall mga batan to. Okay? Dapat huwag nyo kalimutan yan. Kasama yan hanggang sa finals yun ng second sem. So, okay? So, when we say transport maximum, tas active transport yun. Okay? That means the carrier involved in the active transport, they are now saturated. They have reached the point of saturation. So, they are presenting now what? Maximum rate of active transport. Kaya pag sinabing transport maximum sa kidneys, the level ng transport is at the maximum rate. So merong certain amount that is reabsorbed by the carriers. Okay? Involved in transporting a specific substance. Meron siyang maximum amount reabsorbed. Fix yun. Due to the availability ng carriers. Kaya pag na-saturate mo na yung carriers, naalala nyo yun, point of saturation. Pag saturated na yung carriers, all carriers involved in the transport are now active, performing the transport. And they are now doing the maximum rate of transport. Kaya tawag transport maximum. Okay? Example, yung glucose merong limitation yan Kasi it exhibits transport maximum. Okay? Yung mga carriers involved in the transport. Okay? Tapos dito ang transport niya usually secondary active transport, yung SIMPort. Tinan ko kung naalala nyo Anong klaseng carrier? What do you call the carrier involved in the secondary active transport ng glucose sa renal tubules? Sabi SIMPort. What is that carrier? Ay, talaga namang mga batang ito. Walang gusto sumagot. SGLT. Sodium glucose co-transporter or sodium glucose SIMporter. Wala na talagang gusto sumagot. Okay. Yung SGLT, especially SGLT2. Ayun ang ginagamit yan. Okay? So, pag na-saturate na yun, di meron ka ng maximum transport ng glucose sa proximal convoluted tubule. Sa proximal convoluted yan. Tapos associated with transport maximum, yung term na renal threshold. Pareho lang naman yan. Okay? Yan ang maximum amount reabsorbed in the proximal convoluted tubule with regards to glucose. Pag transport maximum, yun ang unit, milligrams per minute. Pero pag renal threshold, milligrams per cent. So what does it mean? So pag sa renal threshold tayo, pag ang plasma glucose mo 180 milligrams per cent, you will never see presence of glucose in the urine. Kasi yan ang maximum amount reabsorbed by the proximal convoluted tubular cells using SGLT2. Yan ang kanyang maximum So walang lalabas na glucose sa urine. All are reabsorbed by the proximal convoluted tubular cells. What if your blood sugar is 185 milligrams per cent? Pag 185, the proximal convoluted tubular cells can only reabsorb up to 180. So yung 5 milligrams will be excreted in the urine. So meron ng appearance ng glucosuria. You follow? Hello, is that clear? Anong sumagot po mga batan to?
Yes, Doc.
Yan So yan ang importance ng transport maximum or renal threshold. Pag transport maximum, di ba iba lang ang unit, pero pareho lang yun. Pag 375 milligrams per minute, there will be no glucose in the urine. Yan ang maximum ability niya to transport the glucose. Pero pag nag-380 yan, 380 milligrams per minute, meron ka ng excess glucose that is not reabsorbed by the tubules o sa proximal. So that will be excreted in the urine. Ito yung sasabing may limitation pag transport maximum. Okay? Tapos pwede rin naman yung gradient time limitation. Yung amount reabsorbed by the tubules. Okay? Dependent na ngayon sa extent of gradient and duration of exposure. Ito dapat ma-recall nyo rin. Pag exposure, ito madali pag duration ng exposure, the greater is the exposure time, the greater will be reabsorbed. Siyempre, matagal mo nilagay dun So, mas marami kang ma-reabsorb. What if the time is lesser? So, less of the said substance is reabsorbed. Kasi less ang exposure time. Diba? Pag sa gradient naman, active transport yan. So, yung effect niyan, yung energy difference, or the greater the energy difference, or the greater the energy gradient, the lesser is the rate of active transport. Kasi di ba ang active transport against the gradient. So the greater the gradient, the lesser will be the ability ng transporters to transport the agent. Kasi exposed siya sa greater energy gradient. So there will be a hard time for the transporter to move the agent. Pag lesser ang energy gradient, okay? Di ba yung transporter will go against or lesser ang energy gradient. So more will be transported. Kaya pag energy gradient, inverse ang relationship sa active transport. Pag duration, the same. Direct. Ayan na. At ma-recall nyo yan. So yung active transport dito, ang involved naman dyan, yung mga transport ng electrolytes. Especially sodium chloride bicarbonates. Okay? Tapos pwede rin naman passive. O sa passive transport, okay, yung water, osmosis lang yan. Some electrolytes, other nutrients, and urea. Passive transport, ito going along. Walang problema na dyan. Alam nyo na yan. Kasi di ba sabi, na-maintain natin yung GFR within the said blood pressure range. Okay? Maintain din pati renal blood flow. Okay? Kaya sa glucose, ito, para maalala nyo yung sinasabing transport maximum. Di ba sa horizontal axis of abscissa, yung concentration ng glucose sa plasma. Yung ating ordinate or vertical axis, yung ordinate yan, yung rate of glucose transport. Okay? Sa nephron. So, ano yan? Proximal tubular cells. Okay? So, ito yung rate of filtration. Yung blue line, tama diretso lang. Kasi the greater, the amount of blood entering the glomerulus, the greater will be the ability ng glomerulus to filter. Okay, nag-increase ang plasma, increase din ang filtration. Okay? What about the glucose? Okay? So, pag nare-reabsorb na yon, when they enter the proximal convoluted tubule, okay? So, initially yon greater ang absorption, and increasing. Kasi marireach natin yung transport maximum. Pag na-reach yung transport maximum, the transport will continue. But it is now limited at maximum rate. Di ba, anong TM niya? Sabi, 375 milligrams per minute. So anything above the said value, o pag 380 yan, it is not anymore reabsorbed by the proximal convoluted tubular cells. Mag-a-appear na yung excess glucose na yun sa urine. Okay? Tapos ang na-observe, di ba pag milligrams percent amount ng glucose sa plasma, 180 ang maximum niya. Okay? 180 milligrams percent. Okay? Kaya merong point na sabi, yung reabsorption, will not anymore present an additional increase. O yung tinatawag na splay. Wala nang increase sa rate ng reabsorption, pero continuous siya. It is limited at maximum. Kasi yun lang ang capability ng carriers. Yun ang kanilang maximum capability. So, pag may transport maximum ganyan, nag-stop yung reabsorption rate at maximum rate. Hindi na magpe-present ng additional increase. Pero continuous yung absorption. Kaya sabi, eventually, what is observed? Pag na-reach mo na yung value above the renal threshold, meron ng excretion ng said substance in the urine. Mag-a-appear na yung glucose sa urine. Yan sasabing splay. Kaya ang na-observe na yan, pag yung agent, mataas yung transport maximum. Mataas ang transport maximum niya. Agents with high TM, what does it mean? So, the agent are mostly reabsorbed sa tubular cells. Less is excreted. Tapos lesser ang clearance. Sorry. Pag high ang TM, kaya di ba ang glucose, tinan mo, meron siyang limitation, di ba hanggang 180 lang. So, pag more than 180 milligrams percent, meron ka ng excretion ng glucose sa urine. Meron ka ng clearance. Nag-a-appear na yung glucose sa urine. Okay? Paano pag amino acids? Pag amino acids, sky is the limit. Walang given value. So, that means everything presented in the proximal convoluted tubule, basta amino acids, very high ang transport maximum nun. Walang ang given value, sky is the limit. So, any amino acid, filtered, presented sa proximal convoluted tubular cells. All of them are reabsorbed. It will never appear in the urine. It has a very high transport maximum. Wala nga nilagay na level na or value. Kaya sabi, normally there are no amino acids in the urine, even if they are filtered. Pero yung glucose pwede mag-appear sa urine. If it is above the renal threshold or the transport maximum. Pero sa normal condition, di ba ang normal, ang blood glucose 100, 110 milligrams per cent. So normally, we don't also see glucose in the urine. Okay? Paano pag mababa? If there is low transport maximum. So ito yung mga agents na less reabsorbed. Lower na transport maximum. Okay? So more is excreted and there is greater clearance. Anong karakteristik ng ano itong mga agents na to? Pag mga low TM. Okay? So karamihan yan mga waste products. So they're eventually excreted by the nephron or excreted by the kidneys. Okay? Up to this point, are there questions? May tanong kayo?
Po.
Hello? Ay, so, bilis na sagot na. Pag mga ganun ng tanong, ang bilis na sagot ha. Okay? So, we'll stop at this point. We'll continue next meeting. Okay? Thank you for listening. Walang questions na ha. Mabilis na sagot eh. Nanit po.